Hello and welcome back to Space Engineers. In today's video, we're looking at something absolutely incredible that, well, should not be possible in Space Engineers at this sheer size, but it's called the Eternal Colossus, the mech chassis, which is this glorious thing that I'm currently sitting on the shoulder of. Now, as I move further and further away, you can see my character getting smaller and smaller, because this thing is absolutely ginormous, and it fully works as a proper mech. We've got moving arms, we've got moving hands, it can walk, and of course you can always upgrade it with a few guns if you wanted to, and it has a full-on interior for you to walk around in, on the top, in his head, and then in the upper part of his chest, so you're nice and protected from any kind of shots coming towards you. This thing is absolutely ginormous, and I'm pretty sure currently this is the biggest mech you can find on the Steam Workshop. I would recommend downloading it, especially if your computer can run it. Pressing F10, we'll just go through here for the moment, then we're going to do a very brief look around the outside, and then just go into the meat of it and actually control it. The Eternal Colossus is 20,337 large blocks, using no DLC packs and no mods. It does have a fair few scripts on here, which has been clearly listed on the workshop page, and it does have a general FAQ of what it does, and there is some very important information at the top here, where it says it's not really meant for survival mode, it's generally for creative. Now what the creative means by this, because I did find out when testing it, is that the thing is very, very heavy, to the point that when you start to walk this thing around, it will damage its feet, and it will start to destroy the voxels below it, and slowly mine itself out a tunnel, as it gets smaller and smaller, destroying itself. I've turned off voxels, turned off block destruction, so none of that should happen in this video. And I did forget, come back in here, give that a thumbs up, there we go. And yes, this is what we get for the very front. So right above here, we can see some absolute fantastic use of our steel blocks. This thing has, compared to a lot of ships, very little detail in the form of little bits and bobs scattered everywhere. It's very plain, but the way it's been set up works exceptionally well. Yes, we can see some glass panels where we're going to be sitting inside controlling this thing. And all the way around it, we've got black, dark grey, light grey blocks to make up the main body of the mech. As we were to move all the way down, we can sort of see the joints of how the rotors are going to allow the arms to spin around, and the hinges lift it up and down. If we were to come across to one of these arms, that's simply how it looks. Then across to one of the hands, and yes, the hands can fully open up at a click of a button, thanks to all the hinges onto it. There's just one hell of a lot of impressive stuff going on with this thing. If we look at that a bit later on, we actually open up the hands. These are the legs, so they come across from the main torso all the way down, and they angle themselves, so we've got a nice sort of balance on this, make sure we don't fall over when trying to walk this thing around. You want to look at it on the side, there we go, moving all the way up the arm, and then there's the head at the back. At the rear of the mech, we've got a little way to get in and out, which is at the top here, so we've got a doorway and some safety rails to make sure you don't accidentally fall off. Then moving all the way down, here's a connector just in case you need it, and all the way down to here, there are the legs. And yes, that connection point you could, if you really want to, make a jetpack for the mech and make it lift up and, well, fly around, but that's entirely up to you. Well, without further ado, what I'm going to do is actually grab hold of my character. We're going to come all the way around into his head. So round we go, closing that behind me, closing that behind me, and this is the interior. So it's very small front and center, but as we go to move down, it will get much bigger, and there'll be more things to actually see. Up here, we've got some air vents, we've got control seats, LCD screens tell you everything about the mech. Then walking all the way around, down to here, a few steps go round, and we'll eventually come round to our control room, where we've got the same seats to actually control it, but it's much more protected, and well, we can see our large reactor, we see our LCD screens once again, and there should be some steps that lead further down, all the way around, and here we go. So we've got our programmable blocks, we've got batteries lying in the room, we've got timer blocks, it's just an alternative to sitting in the head. But no, I want to go back up to the head, so we can actually drive this thing around properly, and here we go, all the way around, up we go, up into here, and then we're going to come into this seat. Now this seat that I'm currently sitting in is going to be to control the arms. So bring the free camera all the way around, there we go, and then just locking that in place, bring up the HUD, over to tab number 2, we can now press number 1 to unlock the arms. Now when I was to move the mouse, we can now move the arms up, we now go all the way up, all the way down, and then if we go to press 7 or 8, we now open up the arms, close them, absolutely fantastic how it's all been set up. So all these hinges you can see on the control bar are going to be to turn off certain parts of the arm. So there's the shoulder joints, the elbow joints, the wrist joints to stop it from spinning around. So you've got lots of customization you can do to make poses with this thing, or even just to make a certain setup. So you can say remove the hands from the arm and attach guns onto it. That's entirely up to you. But yes, we now lift the arms up, we now open that, close that, spin them all the way around if you wanted to. In fact, you could even have your character standing in the hand. I should have done that at the start of the video. It should have been standing in its hand to do the introduction. There's that for the hands. We now close it up, put them back down, mouse all the way down. There we go, that'll do quite nicely. Then we just lock them in place. Hopping out of that seat and coming over to the opposite side, what we're going to be able to do from this one is actually make it walk. So with the free camera once again, we're now going to move it slightly away, we're going to hide the HUD, now we're going to take over the mech, and here we go, we're now going to do that, and it's going to start to move, and this is why I want the voxels turned off, why I want block destruction turned off, because it will be very, very destructive as it walks around. Now we're just going to come around to here, there we go, it's going to keep walking, and it's incredibly stable. The creator has done an absolute fantastic job at making this extremely balanced, and you can see it's doing a great job, means this surface is very uneven. Once we do it like so, you can see how it's walking around. If it's come around like this, now see it's slowly trudging towards me. In fact, what I can do is now tempt fate by coming out of that seat, coming to this one, back to the free camera, and now what I'm going to do, move it slightly away so we can see the mech is now walking. I did have to pop out of the seat very quickly just to put on the auto walk. Now we can undo the arms, take over that, now we can lift them up, and now we can open it up and try and grab hold of our enemies, and then squish them in there, and well, hopefully do a lot of damage. And here we go, I've now locked down shoulders, so when I lift up one of the arms, I can now get it into a punching motion to deal a nice sort of damage to whatever I'm walking up to. Yes, he has got a little bit stuck and it has gone a bit wonky because I hit quite a few of the wrong buttons. Kind of get what's going on. I'm not too sure why he's walking backwards currently. I suppose what I'll do is now just go and toggle them all on, toggle them all off, now put his arms back to a standby position. So locking them in place so they can no longer wander around, back into first person view, we now actually probably go through the controls by hopping out of this one, into this seat, and well, making him stand still. There we go, that should make him stop, hopefully. And after a lot of clanging sounds, he should come to a proper stop. Now we can actually look through the controls. Looking up to here, what we got on our left hand side, and this is basically going to be to get him off the ground if he ever flipped over. So we press number 2 to override our gyros, and that should give us enough movement to be able to lift him up off the ground and get back into a walking state. Across over here, this is our arm controls, which is what I was fiddling about just a minute ago, where we can lock our arms, lock the left arm, lock the right arm, lock the shoulders, lock the shoulder turns, lock the elbows, and then turn the wrist, open the hands, and then unused block. Over to tab number 3, it's got AI controls. Yes, you can have this as a companion in your world if you really wanted to, where number 1 is the auto walk, then we've got our AI blocks to move it around, to attack, to defend, and a recorder block so you can make it go on a set path and patrol around your base if you wanted it to be extremely menacing to any enemies approaching your base. Yes, that is that for the controls of what it can do. Can't really think of anything else to actually do with this thing, so what I'll do is now activate that, and we're just going to walk it around for a bit. I can't crash it, I can't destroy it because the destruction is turned off in the world. This is an absolute incredible design, and just highly recommend downloading it just to play around with it and see it for yourself. As for that, that's pretty much it for the internal Colossus Mech chassis. An absolute incredible design, absolute massive design. In fact, that's something that I can show off just a second before we end the video. Is come out of that, then come to a stop, hop out of this, now go down to its feet, so you can actually see the sheer size of this thing. So walking out of that, opening out that door, out of this, and coming over to his shoulder, dropping all the way down to the ground. Yes, this is what it's like in first person view. There's its hands, and there is its feet. You can see some of the damage when I spawned it in with the block destruction turned on, but here's my character. Bring the free camera all the way down. That is it right there. They also look all the way up in first person view. That is just an absolute incredible scale of this mech. That is that for this incredible mech. There'll be a link to its description below if you wish to download and play around with it yourself. Highly recommend you do. I'll be back with another video some point soon. Bye bye.